Hey everyone, this is Sumo here. I head up customereducation.org, and today I just want to give you a sneak peek behind all the data we've been collecting as part of the 2022 Customer Education Council report. This is the first time we're doing this report, and the big idea here is to pull in data from our members and share it back to you about what programs are people building, how are they building their teams, what's their budget look like, what metrics are they tracking, and how are they getting compensated. So we're super excited to give you a sneak peek behind the data. Over 150 people have filled out the survey already, and that's what we're sharing, some preliminary data. The survey is going to continue for the next 10 days, so please share it. We really want to get to 250 responses, and then we'll produce the actual report with data. So today I just want to give you a quick sneak peek. Here it is. It isn't all the information, but I wanted to get started. If you don't know me, my name is Sumo. I head up Academy and Community at a company called Thinkific by day and during the evenings. And my passion project is really helping members of the customer education community do their jobs better. Just a quick shout out to all the people that helped us build this report. So Cinziana Kish from Clue was really our data support behind this report. She helped us analyze a lot of the numbers and come up with interesting correlations. And Kinda and David, who you already might know from the community, have been super helpful in figuring out what questions we should be asking and how we should be analyzing the information. So quick overview on who actually filled out this information. We had over 150 responses from pretty much all over the world, dominated primarily in North America, within California and the East Coast as well. But people with lots of experience, so almost half the respondents had over 10 years of experience. All different levels were well represented, and the survey respondents were predominantly white. So you can see here that director, manager, team lead, IC, and others were pretty well represented, and people have a lot of professional experience, so almost half people have 10 plus years of experience. Pretty split between male and female, but tends to skew towards female in terms of responses. Again, if this is going too fast, please feel free to pause the video, but I wanted to save you time so you don't have to actually speed up the video. So I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. We asked people what size of company they are at. Most people work at software or SaaS-based companies. And little surprisingly, the biggest answer to your company's annual revenue was actually unsure. So this stands out to me as something that we need to get better about, like knowing how much company revenue we have. That way we can better understand our budget and better ask for resources. But most people work for companies within $1 to $50 million range. So I would say it's sort of like mid-market SaaS companies is the dominant response here. Then let's talk a little bit about team size. So if you are in customer education, there's a 2 in 3 chance that you have under 5 people in your team. So if you feel like you're under resourced, well, you aren't the only one. That's kind of like the norm here. So let me get my face out of the way. So quick note on the team sizes is about 65% of companies, less than 5 people. About 80% companies have less than 10 people in customer education. So this is not the company size, but the customer education team size. Okay, so we asked people where customer education programs sit. So unsurprisingly, the biggest response was customer success. Number 2, which was new to me or kind of interesting, was professional services. Again, I'll try and move my face out of the way, move it somewhere here. And the third response was marketing, which is kind of a newer trend. And so Cindy did some of the data analysis, and what she found out was that older teams that have been around for 3+ years, tend to sit under CS or professional services. Newer teams that are under 2 years are tending to sit under marketing or in their own department, which is kind of exciting to see. And approximately 2 out of 3 teams, which is almost basically 66% of teams, expect to grow in 2022, which is super exciting for our industry. Okay, let's go through some of the basics. We asked people what their budget for their program was. So we said, hey, what is your budget for your customer education program? And again, the top answer here, 38% said they were unsure. So this can mean a couple of different things. Either the budget doesn't exist, or it's not an actual real number that's shared widely, or that the budget exists and it's sort of kept at the VP or executive level and doesn't come down to the team. But I think this is one thing we should look to change. If we don't know our team budgets, it's very hard for us to calculate ROI because we then don't know exactly what you're investing in, and so very hard to calculate ROI that way. Audiences primarily focus on new customers, existing customers, and number 3 was employees. So I thought it was kind of interesting that 40% of customer education teams are also helping employees. But that makes sense given that a lot of teams are newer, and so when customer education teams are starting, they tend to help both external and internal audiences. Who do we partner with? Again, the top three answers are customer success, product, and marketing. So I thought it was interesting that marketing was ahead of support, which means that customer education teams are working with customer marketing or just product marketing or just the general marketing team of helping other people understand how to use their features and how to like do their jobs, get the jobs done. So that's pretty exciting to see. So we went through this one. Let's talk a little bit about goals. So that we asked them, hey, what are the top three objectives of the customer education team? And the top four were product onboarding and adoption, reducing churn, reducing support tickets, and scaling internal teams like CS or support. So the insight here is that the top four objectives are cost reduction focused. And so we didn't really see this in the data, but there might be some early correlations between younger teams focusing on revenue generating or lead generating activities. So take it as almost like a prediction for me. It's not really supported by the data, but right now, customer education teams are primarily focused on cost reduction type of activities. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're tracking metrics, that's what you should be tracking towards. And if your goals change, then obviously we'll update the metrics accordingly. What are your biggest challenges with customer education? The number one challenge was to struggle to get enough team members or get enough resources available. So more than half of teams are struggling with getting resources. This is not surprising given that we don't have a really good understanding of what our budget is and what our investments currently are and what return we're generating today. So I can see as an industry, we struggle to get more resources because maybe we aren't doing a great job today of proving ROI. And just in case you think that this is true for all teams out there, I was just part of the CMX data reveal when they surveyed community managers and they asked them the same question. A lot of this survey was actually inspired by the CMX survey. And that was not the top response for them, right? The top response for them was they're struggling to do member engagement. So not all teams are struggling with resources. And so if customer education teams are, then let's ask ourselves why that's happening and if we're doing a good job showing ROI with our existing budgets. Let's talk a little bit about what metrics people are tracking. So today they're tracking course enrollments, completions, satisfaction NPS, traffic. And then number 5 is trained user product adoption. So the first 4 are very important metrics. They're easy for us to find from our LMS. But my analysis here is that don't really directly track or really account for the goals we had as our programs that we looked at a few slides ago. So like only trained user product adoption, which is the 5th response here, is somewhat related. There seems to be a little disconnect. And by the way, my program, I run a program at Thinkific is guilty of a lot of this stuff. So when I say these things, they're mostly a reflection on my own team and things I should be doing better. There are a lot of questions here that we didn't get a chance to analyze before doing the quick data reveal. So, we'll be getting in a few more responses. So we'll be sharing data on how people are collecting feedback, number of learners, percentage of accounts, and interestingly, how monetization strategies work. So almost 50% of customer education teams don't plan to monetize, but about 18% want to. This was surprising to me. Honestly, I thought the number would have been slightly higher of teams thinking about monetization this year as a way to prove ROI, but it doesn't seem to be the case. That being said, in February, we are going to do a roundtable on subscription-based revenue for customer education teams. So if that's something you're interested in, look out for that invite. And if that's something you already have experience with, let me know, and I would love to have people lead that session for us. Monetization, my prediction was that it was going to be a big trend for this year, but the data doesn't seem to support that. We will release some little more information on, for the people who are already monetizing or thinking about it, what exact models they're going to use. So watch out for that in a little bit. So now let's talk about tech and tools, which is everyone's favorite topic. What tools are primarily using people? Lots of webinars and video production. So it sounds like customer education focused are focusing on webinars and videos. LMS is down in number 3, as well as content authoring tools. I think what was interesting to see is community platforms coming in at number 5. This is something I haven't seen before. So a lot of education programs investing in community, which I'm super excited about. Last year at Thinkific, we brought the education and community teams and combined them under one department called SEDCOM. So I'm big on this idea of communal learning and delivering learning experiences in sort of a cohort or community type of format. So I'm loving this, but it is number 5 on the list. One quick insight here is that we are focusing a lot on webinars and videos, but only the LMS tool out of all of these tools mentioned here is the only one that can help with ROI calculation and showing you the value of your program. So if you aren't using an LMS currently, that's something to consider for sure. Okay, this is the hot, spicy one slide of the day, which is the LMS ratings. Right now, the big insight is no one seems to like their LMS. So the question for the community is, why is that the case? And what would you like to see? The average LMS rating is about 3.5 from across the people who said they're using an LMS. The top most liked LMS was Thought Industries that came in with a rating of 4.1. But the most popular LMS out there seems to be Skilljar. So that's what we came up with the data. Thinkific actually technically has a higher score, but it's probably biased by my own team taking the survey. So I wouldn't put too much weight on that number. But again, generally speaking, the numbers don't look so good. We're going to dive a little further into why that is and what people said they don't like about their LMSs. So more data to come here, but this is kind of like the spicy slide of LMSs. Compensation. So this is probably the most important thing that is new for this report, and we really wanted to build transparency around how people in our industry are getting compensated. So firstly, a huge shout out to all of you for sharing this data and information with us and trusting us with this. I take that responsibility very seriously. And the reason we want to do this is to build transparency and give you back information so you can compensate your team as well as yourself more accurately based on industry numbers. So let's get into it. But again, huge shout out to Cinziana Kish from Clue for helping us come up with some really interesting insights here. So here's what we found by looking at the compensation. So at the bottom right, if you look at the chart, you can see that the average compensation for both men and women across all levels of experience. So the average for men is about $123,000. This is USD per year. And the average for women is $113,000. So it's about 8% lower. So women on average are getting paid 7 to 8% less across the board. This is in US dollars. And that trend tends to continue at different levels of experience. So, or like different years of experience. Women get paid less based on years of experience. But one of the interesting insights that Cinzi helped us pull out is that even though women get paid less on average, women at director or manager levels are actually making more than men. So if you look at the chart bottom right, you can see that director and manager level women are making more. At the team lead and individual level, men are making more. So the big insight here is that the pay gap, or the initial pay gap, that women getting paid less on average, seems to be driven by the fact that women are overrepresented in individual contributor roles and not well represented in manager or director level roles. So the recommendation from us, from customereducation.org to women out there is go for the promotion, go for the bigger role. If you're seeing a pay gap that's happening at the lower levels, that's not good. But that's not happening at the higher level. So the data gap is skewed by the fact that women are overrepresented in individual contributor roles. So if you're if you're a woman in customer education, the recommendation from us from the data is go for the promotion because you deserve it. Okay, so last quick insight on flight risk is almost 60% of the people who took the survey said they would consider a new role this year. So if you are a manager, which, for example, I'm a manager and I manage a team of customer education people, and I'm like, oh, damn, 6 out of 10 of my team are considering a new role. This number becomes even higher for folks making under 100K or for folks below the manager level. So if you're a director and well compensated, you're not likely to consider a new role. But if you're at the manager IC level and you're making less than 100K, then that number goes even higher up. So just wanted to point out and flag that there's some flight risk on your teams today. So if you're a manager, reach out to your teams, ask them for feedback, check in with ENPS, check in on how you can help them grow. And on the flip side, if you're an individual contributor and you're not happy with where you are, if you're not happy with your compensation, hopefully this is data for you to go talk to your manager and your leadership on how you can grow your career. And obviously at customereducation.org, we're here to support you and make sure you find the best roles. We have over 100 open jobs right now on jobs.customereducation.org if you are looking for a new role. So our role here is to give you data, give you insights, give you opportunities to find the best fit for you, regardless of what level in your career you're at. So those are some of the quick insights. Again, a lot more to come. Please share the survey. Big shout out to Cindy, Kinda, and David for helping me out. We are about right now like 75 responses short of our goal. So I'll drop a link in the below, and please share it with other people. If you've already taken the survey, share it with your peers, your colleagues, other people in education. And if you've already taken it, a huge shout out and thank you to you. Look forward to the report here in a bit.